So today we're going to demonstrate to you how we cultivate out in the orchard. So we've got a 260 horsepower tractor with a 6-metre rotary hoe. So Mr. Wolf's going to demonstrate for you today how we cultivate the ground. Come on Mr. Wolf, up the tractor. Come on, right up, quick. Right up, come on, get in the tractor, mate. So this piece of equipment has rotating blades that just turn the soil over to about a depth of about 180 to 200 millimetres. In the orchard at Kings, we try and get as much organic matter into our soil as possible. So in the wet season, if you see all this millet here, we grow that for green mulch. So we'll grow that and then we'll turn that in a couple of times. So you can see here that that's been grown. We've got all the bits and pieces of the millet in this soil. It's currently starting to break down, so that's getting soft and it's going black. And what that does is put organic matter into our soil, which helps hold moisture into that root zone and also holds nutrients. So when we apply our fertiliser and everything, the nutrients can be held up into the root zone through this organic matter. It's very, very important because it helps all the microbes and everything that's functioning in the soil to break down the fertiliser and make it available for the roots of the plants. It's all key to the amount of organic matter we've got there. If we have no organic matter, which we can get in Katherine with our massive wet seasons some years, this year was very poor, but some years we get a metre of rain and that just leaches everything out of our soil profile. So we need to make sure that we're putting as much organic matter, and you can see we've got quite a bit here because of that green mulch. The next step in preparing our ground out in the orchard is, as you can see, we've already rotary hoed this and put down the green mulch. Next step is we've got to rip it, because at the moment we can only get about that far into the soil and it's compacted. So over the dry season and over traffic that goes over this ground, it compacts the ground. And we need it to be ripped open so that the compaction is opened up and the roots of the plants can go down deeper. So there's more water, there's more nutrition, and they can go down deeper and grab hold of whatever's down there. So this is how far you can get in. We're getting in about 200 mil at the current before we rip it. So we're going to get Mr. Wolf to come along and start to rip this ground, and then we'll try it again with this. So this piece of equipment here, we've got 3 rippers, so we're probably going to rip about 600 to 800 mils down into the ground and break up the soil structure for each row. So the melons we're going to plant are going to be at 2-metre spacings, so there's 3 rows being ripped at the same time. We've got 3 rippers per row to really break up that soil. So Sam and Mr. Wolf now have gone through and they've ripped this. So before we could hardly get that in at all. Where the rip is, we've got it right down to about there. So that means the roots can easily penetrate down that deep now that we've put the rippers through. It's pretty simple to understand the difference. And in your home garden, the soil compaction could have been years and years and years since any sort of cultivation whatsoever in that soil. So you might only be able to get a tiny little bit. That means the roots find it extremely difficult to get down and get the nutrient, and it's hard for the water to penetrate. So in the orchard, we put the rippers in 6 to 800 mil. All right, so we've identified what sort of soil. We're happy with the location that we're at. We've seen what we do in the orchard with our ripping. So we're trying to get some penetration for the roots and for the water and everything to go down to about 600 mils so that there's a good soil profile. I'm afraid that the only way that I can think of that's going to achieve this, apart from getting some machinery in here, I've got all their machinery, I could do that, but we need to show you how to do it at home. The only way we're going to be able to do that is with a trusty shovel. So I'm going to dig a trench down to about 600 mil. And so if you're buying a punnet of tomatoes or something like that, it's really only going to be about 3 metres that you need to dig. But I'll dig probably 1.5 metres, 2 metres, and just show you how to get that to happen. We've cheated a little bit here. At the start of the wet season, we've gone and dropped some composted cow manure on top of this ground. So through the wet, we're getting some organic matter down. But we'll act as though that's not even there. All right. So what we want to do is make a trench. And again, I'm a bit spoilt because we've had rain and we've got soft soil. You may find this a bit more difficult. You know, you can always go to the higher places in town and get a little ditch witch and do this. But remember, if you start digging up your garden with mechanical means, you could hit pipes or telephone lines, and what would be terrible if you hit the optical fibre and the kids didn't have their internet. That would be the end of the world. The other option is get the kids and do this. You see it's actually getting a bit difficult. So we're drier closer to these trees. You want to come and help, Mr. Wolf? Here, come on, see, look. See this, look. You should be digging this. Check, check, check. Where's the rats? Here they are. You can see I'm getting right down to the soil that has lost the brown colour. So we're right down into the underlayer of soil. So out in the orchard, we have places sometimes where we've got to lift those big rippers up. There might be a pipe underneath. We don't know how deep it is. So we lift it up just to be safe. And you can see in the production where the plants are either spreading nicely or they're growing this high. You go where it's not been ripped up and they're much, much lower. It's because the roots just cannot penetrate down through the soil when it's too compacted. As much as this phase is not much fun, it's vitally important that we get it, that we can actually loosen up that whole soil structure. So if I just fill that in now, that little tiny stretch is going to be, the compaction is going to be broken. But we actually want more than that. So when we fill it in, we'll go to the sides and break that across. You can feel it hard down there and it breaks off into the trench. And then the same this side. And then use the soil that you pulled out the initial trench and put it back in. So now if I step on that you can see it's much softer, and I can push the shovel right down. So I've created a area about 500 or 600 wide and about 500 or 600 deep of very well broken up soil. If you've got a really hard garden, you might have to go and get a little tiny excavator from a hire place. I don't know how much they cost. If you get set up, go and pick it up, have it for half a day, do this, break it all up, just the area of your garden. It will save this amount of work. I have the equipment to do this on the farm, but I'm trying to show you what you should do. So this is probably the most amount of work I've done with a shovel for a long time. Puffing. Sharon will be happy. Bit of exercise. So soil compaction has been broken up, and we get ready to go to the next phase of our gardening journey. And some huffing and puffing. Go quickly up! Quick, right up! No! You've got to get running faster. Go, right up! Go!